We could probably spend 2 hours talking about Airbnb versus the hospitality industry, but there's been a lot of communication around cleanliness and giving information to their hosts about how to keep the virus in check, how to provide great experiences. And then we're getting, the kind of the backside of that on the hotel side. If you think about how often a hotel is cleaned, I mean, realistically, hospitals, hotels, right? It's pretty cleanliness. So how do you think hotels can kind of compete against some of the Airbnb messaging and you kind of tout some of our cleaning standards and the things that we're doing to, again, make sure that this virus doesn't impact the travelers so that they do feel safe and comfortable staying with us?
Well, I think you've just touched on a big part of it. You've got to communicate to your current and prospective guests what you're doing, because the differentiation between a typical hotel and alternative housing is going to be like night and day, literally, because there's the frequency, there's this dedicated staff that's doing it all the time. You've got a whole different inspection process for your rooms now that have been even upgraded beyond what our industry has ever seen by certain brands and the new H&LA standards now. But I think if people are still wired up about the competitive nature of alternative housing, keep in mind alternative housing options are here to stay. And I think you need to, if it's a competitive thing you're worried about, you can clearly differentiate the product. But it goes back to marketing 101. Know who your customers are. And if you're targeting the right customer, then they're going to be looking for the safety. They're going to be looking for the security. They're going to be looking for the legitimate, professionally run operations, as opposed to where they want to go couch surf somewhere. And I'm speaking generally, but I think the mindset will need to change on alternative housing. I remember I was at a meeting one time back in the days of face-to-face meetings when I had a select service GM come up to me, and he didn't understand why everybody was really so negative about the alternative housing market. He says, well, it's really good business for me. And I said, really, why? And he said, well, I use a downtown hotel. It was a select service property. He says, I have 75 units within a 4-block radius of my hotel. He says, I do all their housekeeping. He says, my room service menus are in all of their units. He said, some of the unit owners pay me to have people come to my desk and pick up their key. So he turned the glass up half full instead of half empty, and he created a whole revenue stream of ancillary revenue for his hotel based on providing services to these 75 units within a 4-block of his hotel. So I think that mindset it illustrates the way we're going to have to think differently in the foreseeable future about generating business and generating revenue for the businesses we work for. And that's the type of innovation and creativity that I'm excited a year from now, we're going to be looking back and finding all those shining stars of people that did some really cool stuff that we can all learn from.
Yeah, absolutely. So I look forward to hanging out with you, hopefully at Rock later this year, and the Marketing Strategy Conference in early, 2021. Oh my goodness. And having those conversations about what people have done to innovate and how they've continued to grow.
Absolutely.
What we're seeing is that, to your point, the audience for this pent-up demand is predominantly local, a lot of drive market, but also short plane hops. My first trip in August will be a short plane hop, looking for that leisure travel within driving distance, looking for activities and things, packages that kind of pull things together. There's been a lot of talk about, hey, restaurants in the area aren't open, although in most markets now they've at least opened, like even here in the Bay Area, most of our restaurants are now open for outdoor dining at least. So there is something along those lines.